Hey guys, Drew here over at Rev Hiker Outdoors, and I've got a video here that I've been wanting to work on for quite some time, and I finally just got some of the last components for it. Now first off, before we get started, I want to apologize for the humming in the background. If you guys have been with the channel for a while, you understand that I also run a radio station for my church out of my house, and the transmitter's in my garage, which is where I'm coming to you from today. So if you hear a little bit of humming, I'm sorry. This is about the best I can do right now. I can't do this test in the house because of carbon monoxide and the smell that it would bring, and you know, my wife kicking me out and all that stuff. So I'm in the garage today, and I've got the doors slightly open so that we have good ventilation, but at the same time we're out of the wind, which won't affect the test. So anyway, without further ado, the test today is I'm doing an Ultralight Backpacking Stove shootout. So in my bag here, this is a Mountain Smith Daylight Awesome Pack. You can check out my review on this, but I've got 4 different stoves. I've got an Esbit fuel tab stove. I've got an MSR PocketRocket. I have, I've got stove in a can, which is kind of new, kind of cool. I don't know. This will be my first time trying it out, honestly. So you guys will get to check it out with me. And then lastly, I have my homemade alcohol stove, which I have mentioned in other videos, but it's just my little version of an alcohol stove. Really like this thing. Awesome. But what I'm going to do today is the testing part of it is going to be on boiling times. So I'm going to have some water, and it's going to be in a thermos so that it's going to be equal for each one. And I'll also have some water to cool down the the stainless steel Sierra cup that I'm going to use to boiling, so it won't affect anything. Okay guys, so here we are. You can see I have all of my stoves kind of laid out here, and we're going to just check them all out and see which one does what the best. So first up, I'm going to go with the one that I have the most experience with, and that is the MSR PocketRocket. Now, I've owned this thing for 10 years. You can see it's got a little wear on it. I've never had to replace any seals. I've never had to do maintenance on this thing, and it has been used a lot. You can see one of the arms, a little wiggly, but the rest are good and tight and they stay in. This one will flop out. But anyway, great stove. Uses, now you can get all different kinds of brands, but I happen to have the MSR on me. I own 2 other brands, but this is just an isobutane mix. So this one is more than half empty. We're going to be using that today, and let me just put this bad boy together. So what I'm going to do is just quickly measure out 1 cup of water. That's what we'll be using for each test. And you guys can keep me honest here. Right up to the 1 cup, and it is 1 cup when you level it out. So after that, I'm going to pour that into the stainless steel Sierra cup. This is what I generally cook with, and I will not be covering it, just to keep all the tests the same. Get it cranked up. That's pretty much max right there, and we'll start the timer now. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is just tell you some of the pros and cons about this, and if I happen to finish up before it boils, then I will just speed up the tape so you guys don't have to sit here and literally watch water boil. So MSR PocketRocket, I love this thing. Here's some of the pros about it. As far as the ease of use goes, it has to be number 1. It's so simple to use. You screw it in, you light it, and it's good to go. I mean, it's so easy to adjust this. It doesn't require any special knowledge. There's no pumping, there's no priming, there's none of that. You literally crack the valve open, light it up, and let it rip. As far as weight goes, the stove by itself is 3 ounces. The canisters have 8 ounces of fuel in them, plus the weight of the canister. I think the canister only weighs a few ounces anyway, so you know, as far as ultralight goes, yes, the canisters are a little on the heavy side, but the stove is absolutely amazing. The capability that it brings for that weight is really, really good, and I definitely use that on winter camping especially. I really do like it. Let's take a look here. I'm going to raise this camera up. Give me a second, and we will take a look. Hopefully down in on this stuff. Sorry about the camera work, guys. I want to, so we can see when this starts to boil. You can see already that we're starting to get some bubbles forming, and we are at 1 minute, almost 2 minutes here, and on the 1 cup we're just about ready to boil. And let's see, there we go, getting close, and I would call that at this point a rolling boil. We'll call that 217. Okay, so I'm thinking it's going to be hard to kind of beat that. Let's turn this off. All right. Another one of the pros on this particular stove is that if you're cooking in anything other than this, you can simmer. Lots of adjustability on this. So another reason that, in my opinion, the MSR is a great stove. Really enjoy using this. Super easy to operate. You know, durability, I've had this one 10 years. Now, right now you can get these in a regular store, like a big box store, for about 40 bucks. You can get them online cheaper, that's for sure. But as far as the price that this thing has costed me per year, awesome. It lasts so long that I don't mind investing the 40 bucks, and for me the fuel lasts a really, really long time. I think this canister is like 2 years old, and you know, they're $5-6. It's super cheap. So really great stove option. Not the lightest, not the most compact. So the next thing I'm going to move on to is something that, as far as the weight division is concerned, just basically crushes everybody. This is by far the lightest stove, and that is the alcohol stove. So let's talk a little bit more about that. Here we are with the alcohol stove. Now, what I've done, I turned the camera off, I dumped out the boiling water, cooled down the cup, and refilled it. Obviously it's nice and cool to the touch. So again, I measured out 1 cup of water in the measuring cup, and we're ready to go again. So now I'm going to show you how the alcohol stove works, and what I use is heat. This stuff right here. It's just a gas line antifreeze water remover. It's just alcohol. That's all it is. You can see right there, danger, contains methyl alcohol. Don't drink it, guys. Won't get you drunk, it'll get you dead. So anyway, here we go. And what I do, I'm not going to pour exactly a certain amount for exact burn times. All you have to know is that an ounce lasts roughly 6 to 8 minutes, depending, and you know, depending on how close you are to an ounce. So all we do here is I just fill it about like that, okay, till I can see. Well, it's hard to see in this light, but yeah, there we go. You're always going to spill a little bit, so just mind that when you go to light it. Always move it a little farther away from where you light it. So let me get this lit, and then once it's ready, I'll talk as it's getting ready. I forgot that I have to use matches on this. The Zippo kind of doesn't cut it. There we go. That's lit. Hard to see. There's kind of a blue flame coming out of there right now. But what this does is once it heats up, move this carefully, once the fuel heats up, you'll see it start shooting out of the jets. You'll hear it almost start to boil the fuel in this outer sleeve. And now I know there's a million different variations, but this is the one I've found that works best for me. So a couple of the pros of this stove as we get into it. As far as weight goes, it crushes the competition every way, shape, or form. This thing is like 1/10 of an ounce. It's ridiculously light. Okay, see how it's starting to come out of these jets now? So let's get ready to start our time. And as soon as that's good to go, and begin. Okay, so our timer's rolling, and we will just sit back and talk for a few minutes now. So alcohol stove, I really like this kind of stove. It's for ultralight. I've used it on a bunch of trips, and it really is just so light. And I've had people say, oh man, doesn't that thing crush? Doesn't it break? No, absolutely not. As far as durability, I've had this one several years, and it's been really good for me. Another pro on this is the cost. Guys, it's 5 cents or less. You can find it on the side of the road and make this thing for free. As long as you've got like a marker, a ruler, and a razor blade, or even I've used scissors to make them before, then you can make this thing for free. Weighs nothing, costs nothing. Fuel, I bought this at Advanced Auto, this whole thing. This is 12 ounces, and this will last quite a long time. You figure, 12 meals really to get a cup of water boiling, and there's always fuel left over. So anyway, it lasts quite some time. And that whole thing costs just over $2, and that's in upstate New York, where everything is ridiculous expensive. So anyway, so that's that. The fuel, very cost effective, in abundance. And here's another upside to this stove, guys. It literally will run on almost any flammable liquid. I have run it on lighter fluid. I have run it on brake clean. I have run it on gasoline. I have tried diesel, didn't work great. I've run it on kerosene. Just about anything that burns will work in here. Now, alcohol is the absolute best because it leaves no streaking, no residue, and it boils quite quickly. I'm going to move this camera again so we can get another view kind of down on top of this deal. There we go. So we can see when it's about to boil. Now, we're coming up on 2 minutes 17 for the MSR, so we just passed that. So boiling time, this is not as fast, okay? This is usually, if I remember, it usually takes closer to 4 minutes, but still a good stove. So anyway, what I do to combat that is I usually cover them anyway, but I didn't want to cover it because I wanted to see precisely when it boiled. So anyway, fuel cost and the stove cost, by far the best of the entire bunch. It's free for the stove and $2-ish for about 12 meals. So really cost effective. And like I said, in a pinch, this stove is very versatile. With the MSR, you run out. You're either going to be building a fire or having cold food. Let's see, ease of use. Yeah, you do have to pour it in there. You are going to have to carry matches. It's harder to light with a lighter, as you saw, because especially with Zippo, because the flame just kind of retreated back up in there when I turned it upside down. But ease of use, there is a little bit of a learning curve, and unless you build an extra ring, there is no adjustability for simmering. So it's kind of either on or it's off. And okay, we're getting close to a boil, so I want to get a time here. Let's see. Right about 4 minutes, like I said. It's just about getting ready to, I mean, it's boiling, but I'm waiting for a rolling boil. There's 4 minutes. And we'll call that a rolling boil at, right now, 410, let's say. Okay, 410. And just write this down. So the MSR, the PocketRocket, was almost 2 minutes faster. But you can see this will get the job done, and if you look down in that stove, there's a lot of fuel left. That'll keep burning for quite some time. So what I'm going to do is just let it boil away while I talk. Actually, maybe I won't. That's kind of being a little noisy. Again, guys, that just reminded me. I am sorry about the background noise, as I said before. But anyway, you know, this alcohol stove is great. Now, one other thing for ease of use. You can see this thing is still going, okay? And I know this video is not picking it up all that well, but the flames are coming about 6-8 inches off the top of this. Once this is done cooking, you can't touch it for a while. That is going to be pretty hot. And you don't get to just turn it off. It's going to burn until the fuel is gone. Unless you had something that you could put over the top of it and completely seal off the oxygen, you're not going to put it out. So you have to plan for that. You have to be able to cook in a spot where that's really not going to be an issue. So once again, this does have its cons. As far as weight is concerned, it is the clear winner. Nothing will come close to it. And but you know, there is a learning curve to getting to know how to use it, and there are some inconveniences. But it's really versatile. Sorry, I just dumped that hot water out. It's really versatile. So if that's what you're looking for, something that you could use in a pinch, it's going to be great. And there you can see it went off. There's no smoke, no soot. Great stove. I really like it. I still use it. Oh, durability. I think I touched on it, but it has been very durable. I've had it for years, and when I pack it, I keep it inside of here along with the fuel, which I use a 5-hour energy bottle to hold the fuel. And man, it's great. Just absolutely great. I've never had any problems with it. You can, you know, drop it, beat on it, kick it around. You know, it's not like it's super delicate and it's going to get broken. Stove is still a little bit warm, so it cools down in a couple minutes. But anyway, there's that stove. I'm going to take a break, get the water refilled, and we'll check out our next stove, which will be the Esbit. And I've had a lot of comments on, hey man, try out an Esbit. So for all you guys, here you go. The Esbit. Here are the fuel tabs for this thing. I'm going to just take one off, open it up, and place it right in there. Now, when you read the package, each one of these burns for like, I don't know, 8 or 10 minutes. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead. I'm going to use a match on this one. Probably could get it going with a lighter, but be forewarned, guys. My absolute first time using this thing. So this will give us a hint on ease of use and that type of thing here. I'll just leave that right there. Hopefully that lights it up. Now, I could tell you, if you've never used an Esbit, they do kind of have like a stinky stink to them. Not a huge fan. This is not working. Not a huge fan of the smell on these fuel tabs. So that is a concern. If you're sensitive to smells or whatever, might not be the perfect thing for you. Okay, it looks like that one side did get lit. So I'm going to wait till this thing is kind of really fully consumed, at least the whole top is burning, and then I will put the water on, which again, I've measured out 1 cup of water and cooled this. See, it's cool. Okay, that looks like to me it's burning. So what we'll do here is time. Oops. Whatever, a few seconds late. This is not scientific anyway. I think we all understand that. So, Esbit, nice and light, solid construction. You know, I say nice and light. It certainly is not. It weighs a little more than the PocketRocket, and it weighs a little, obviously, a lot more than the alcohol stove. But I still think it's a pretty lightweight option. I'm not crazy about fuel tabs, honestly. I'm not a huge fan of it. I don't think it's the best way to go. I think they're kind of stinky. I think that, I don't know, it's not something that I would really want to carry. I do have this. I bought it the other day along with the stove in a can, really for this test and to have something that I haven't used before. So, and now I know, you know, you read things, you watch them on YouTube, a lot of guys like this. And so there might be some angry people saying that Esbit's the best stove in the world, but I'm allowed to have my opinion. Anyway, durability, I really don't see how you could kill this thing. You know, as far as that goes, I think it's quite good. Cost and fuel cost, I think I bought this for $8, $8.50 maybe, and it came with 6 fuel tabs. So basically 6 meals and the stove for $8. Now at the store I was in, if I wanted to buy a refill which had 12 fuel tabs, I think it was $9, $10. So as far as being super cost effective, I don't see it. As far just with the fuel tabs, I think the alcohol is cheaper, and these are definitely cheaper for how long they last. You know, I don't see any way to extinguish this fuel tab and let it keep going. Okay, just so you know, we're up on the almost 217 mark, so this is where the MSR had it boiling, and let's try to raise this up a little bit just so we can have a view when that does start to boil. Got some bubbles forming. It's now 2 minutes 30 seconds. Let's see, intended use for this thing. This is a great little stove, I would say, for like an emergency type situation, bug out bag perhaps, something of that nature. You definitely could use it as a backpacking stove, and I know plenty of people do. And if they don't mind carrying the fuel tabs, then that's cool. Now, I can see some discoloration on my Sierra cup, which I'm guessing is just from those burning chemicals. I doubt it's any hotter than the other 2 stoves. In fact, I know it's not because it's taken long to boil it. So there is that aspect too. It's going to gunk up your stuff. But intended use, I could totally see this being a viable option for a bug out bag and or an emergency bag in your vehicle, which is exactly what this is going to be relegated to after I'm done with this test. It will be going in my bug out bag, in my, well, not bug out bag, my get home bag in my truck, because all my other stoves I use for camping. So anyway, you can see getting some bubbles forming in here. We are on the 3 minutes 50 seconds. So I don't think this is gonna come close to the alcohol stove either, but nonetheless, it's getting the job done. Like I said, intended use, I personally, I don't see this as I think there are better options for ultralight backpacking when you start adding the weight of the fuel and the stove. I would rather take the MSR, to be honest, just for the speed. If the weight is nearly equal, I'd rather take the MSR. More versatile, fuel's gonna last you longer, and about the same weight. Okay, we're 4 minutes 35 seconds, and we're getting really close to this boil here. So let's see here. Did you see that? and it's getting close. There is a bit of an aroma, just so you know. It's kind of stinky. It's not terrible. And I'll call that a rolling boil now. So very close to 5 minutes. We'll say 4 minutes and 53 seconds. Let me just write that down. And I don't know. Like I said, guys, when I got this, after reading reviews and reading things and watching things, I kind of knew that this was not going to be my favorite and that it wasn't going to be amazing. However, let's speak to the versatility on this for a minute. As far as alternative fuels go, in a pinch, you sure could build a small fire in there and do what you needed to do, and this would be a perfect little pot stand for building a natural fire. So as far as that goes, yeah, it has some versatility because you can use things that are in super abundance out in the woods. As far as just pure backpacking and using the intended fuel, though, not a huge winner in my book. And I'm just not a fan of this smell. It's kind of bothering me a bit. So anyway, guys, I will cut that out here, and we will move on to our next stove. Okay, quickly before we get on the stove in a can, look at all this raunchy residue on the bottom of my cup. That annoys me so bad. It just does. The other one's burned totally clean, and this thing was gross. I'm so annoyed that I have to scrub this thing now, because this is not like, it's nasty. I'm annoyed. Esbit fails. Alright, I'm almost done with my Esbit rant. You can see that horrible thing still burning in the back. It's annoying and it's stinky and it made my cup dirty, so I'm angry. Here's a stove in a can. I'm using the spine for this, guys, so no one flip out that I'm damaging my Benchmade. Okay, here we go. Alright. This is like an unboxing and review and field test all at once. I can't say field test, I'll say garage test. There we go. A little bit awkward to get out here. And there. So what I have done is read a bit of the directions. And what I've noticed is that this ring, this piece of steel, you just kind of fold that up to a point, and the fuel cell sits on top of that. It says that it's supposed to make it burn hotter, but last less time. So I am going to put that in there because we want maximum performance. This is the fuel cell. It's just wood and wax, according to them. So let's open this bad girl up. And the directions on this are to crumble a little bit off the edge, set it in the center, and then light it. And then this piece here, this will sit right there, and your water sits on top. Now, in looking at the size of this, I'm seeing a bit of a problem. Oops. Yeah. Not gonna work if you're cooking with a Sierra cup or something small. So I'm kind of a little bit puzzled with this, and I think I have a solution. And that solution is tent stakes. So something that pretty much everybody's gonna have with them. Almost everybody. Some people carve them out in the wild, and that's cool. But I'm just gonna set those on top, and hopefully make sure you've got a level surface, because this thing is gonna roll right off of here. I might have to, yeah, there we go, cool. So anyway, let's get this show on the road now. This thing, at first I'm thinking, man, that's stupid. You have to burn it for 1 hour, because this thing's supposed to last an hour. Well, what you can do is just throw this top piece back on and smother it and save it and use it for later. So anyway, let me back this camera up a touch. get this watch out of here. I'm going to crumble a little bit off the edge. And set that down in there. Boy, that's kind of hairy. Just drop that in there, and then get your crumblings. And we'll light her up. Alright. Sorry for the camera work, guys. Doing the best I can here. Now while I'm waiting for this to kind of really catch, I'm going to set this ring in here, hopefully without searing my flesh. I'm going to set these stakes this way so I don't have to worry about it. And let's make sure the stopwatch is cleared. And let's see. To me that looks fairly lit. So here we go. And start. There we go. Now we just wait and see. I am going to raise this up so that we can get a good look inside as the stove is working. So let's talk about this thing. Weight, I think it's the heaviest of the three. It's a good sized can. It's got some parts on the inside. Right off the bat, I mean, I understand that I use a small cup to cook with, but you know, it's kind of part of being ultralight. I don't carry a plate and a pan and a bowl and everything else. I just carry one thing. I eat and I drink with this thing. So off the bat, I'm a little bit annoyed that I had to kind of improvise. I kind of feel like maybe they should have made provision for that, to use a smaller cup. But then again, it's really not the end of the world. But anyway, I have a feeling this is... My goodness. Hold on, guys. I'll be right back with you. Sorry about that, guys. My wife was trying to run me over with the car. I guess, you know, one too many YouTube videos. Anyway, we're at 1:40 now. And like I was saying, it is a little bit annoying that they didn't provide something for that. Anyway, this is not probably something that I would take along. And again, I'm really going to have to take this out in the field and really see what it's all about. But just initial impressions, I think it is good for heating something up. Maybe if you had a can of soup and you're that type of camper where you bring a can in, pop the lid off, heat it up and eat it, and then you pack out this big old can. I don't really do that. So, you know, for me, the intended use just isn't there. But you might be the type of person that thinks that this is just the bee's knees. And you know, if that's you, then that's cool. If this is something that you say, oh, that's really cool, and you know, I could burn wood in there if I wanted. I could maybe punch some holes in the side of this thing and really use it as that kind of a stove. Then hey, good on you, and I hope it works for you. I hope it's great. But for me in ultralight backpacking, I can't really see this as an option. Now you can see it's starting to put some soot onto my cup pretty good. So, you know, it is not as clean as, say, the MSR or the alcohol. I don't know, this might even be dirtier than the Esbit, which, man, I might just throw them both out. That really made me angry about that Esbit. But anyway, for ultralight backpacking, I can't see it being a great option. I think it's too limited. I think it's kind of dirty. It does have a smell to it. Maybe not quite as offensive as the Esbit, but somewhat offensive. And you can see now the fire is really starting to get ripping in there. And most of this kind of hockey puck is getting consumed. Let me bring it in on that. Let's see if we can zoom in. Yeah, you can see it pretty much fully consumed now, and it's bringing flames up along the edge of the cup. So anyway, I'm going to raise this up. We'll take a look down inside, and to be pretty honest, this is going to take a long time to boil. I'm almost at the point of where the Esbit was. We're at 437 right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quit talking because I've said pretty much what I can about this. Oh no, I didn't mention the price. $8 for the stove with one fuel cell. Fuel cells were like $2.50 a piece. I don't know. Not super impressed. Really didn't think I was going to be. I think it takes a long time to boil. I think the durability is there. Yeah, sure. Probably do really well for that. Cost is pretty low, except for the replacement pucks are kind of expensive. It's pretty easy to use. A little bit of a pain. Not really my thing. Anyway, I'm gonna let this video roll until it boils, and I'll just speed up this for you. Okay guys, here we are. Almost 10 minutes. It's getting there. Almost 10. And we'll call it a boil. Now, let's just call it 10 minutes. It's still a pretty not awesome boil, but there it is, guys. 10 minutes for this thing. I almost gave up on it. I was about to stop and I didn't. So stick around, I'll give you my final impressions. Okay guys, back again. And here's the wonderful thing about YouTube. I get to give my opinions about stuff. And no one can tell me what my opinion should be. So anyway, I know there's going to be people that kind of are Esbit lovers and stuff like that, and that's cool. If that fits your intended use, that's cool. And maybe there's even somebody out there who has used the stove in a can and you love it, you think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Great, glad you like it. I, however, think they're both junk. I won't say junk for the Esbit. Stove in a can was pretty terrible. I like burnt myself getting those stupid rings off the top, and then closing it up is easy, but getting that ring off the top, I'm just not a big fan of it. As far as the Esbit goes, like I said, it works well enough. It's easy enough to light. I could see it being a real pain to light in the wind. The alcohol stove, and I mean, by far the easiest to light is the MSR, but the alcohol stove, better if you have matches, or if you had a lighter, you could probably light up a little stick and do it that way, just so you don't burn your hand. Or if you have a little torch butane lighter, that would probably work well too, but Zippo's not so great on it. So anyway, here's my final impressions. I went over each one of the stoves. I'm not going to reiterate everything, but as far as my tastes go, there's two stoves that I use, and after this test, they're going to be the same stoves that I continue to use. MSR and my alcohol stove, they both rock. They both killed it today. Different uses, different advantages, but for me, most trips, I'd be happy with either one of these. Once you get used to the alcohol stove and you understand how much fuel to put in, how long it's going to last, you can kind of meter out your fuel pretty well, and you know, you can guess pretty close. MSR. One quick tip with these: if you're wondering how much fuel is in your tank, I mean, it'll tell you right on the bottle, but just float it in some water. And if it floats really deep and only the tip top is out, you know, of the can, then it's full. But if it floats and it's way up near the top, then it's getting near empty. Anyway, one drawback to those canisters, if it gets really super cold, they might not work that well. I was cooking and it was 20 below out. This was 2 winters ago, and I had a problem. The stove didn't last as long as I needed it to because the fuel separates and the isobutane burns off of the top, and the propane liquefies and doesn't stay in a gaseous form, and it doesn't keep burning. So I had to kind of take my gloves off and heat this thing up, and man, I almost wrecked my hands. But those are pretty extreme temperatures, and if I had done the right thing and kept the canister in my jacket or in my sleeping bag, probably would have been fine. So anyway, word of caution. Alcohol stove, versatile. You can use a lot of different fuels in a pinch. Say you forgot your stuff. I mean, if you forget your fuel and you realize that on the way in, you can stop at a gas station and get something that'll burn in there. You know, drain a little gas out of your car or your motorcycle or anything. But anyway, love these stoves. Guys, I really appreciate you watching. And I appreciate my subscribers. You guys are great, and I really I thank you for your support. Don't forget, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at RevHiker. And thanks for watching, guys, and have a great day, and God bless. Don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe. Have a good one.